And we live. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the third episode of Australia Got Tech Talent Show. Thank you so much for finding some time to join us. And I'm hoping you enjoying your Thursday lunch, dropping from meeting to meeting. This is, perfect opportunity to have some fun during your Thursday lunch. So I'm Yana Martins, if you don't know me yet. And I'm your Australia Got Tech Talent show host. And this event is all about the opportunity to give tech professionals opportunity to showcase their human side while talking about complex problems in tech industry. We all know that the key to standing out in today's competitive tech field is not only about your technical skills, it's also about some qualities like creativity, problem solving, emotional intelligence, presentation skills, and so on. So please make sure to tag and share this video with your colleagues and friends who need to watch this and hear this and learn from it. So please don't forget to introduce yourselves in the comments, or just, say hi. If you're watching us, please say hi in the comments, because obviously if you're doing it, it's nice. So it means that you're here and you're watching us. And it makes us keep going and keep bringing those, technical competition live every month. So just want to, before we digging in the show, I just want to quickly remind you that we're streaming today on YouTube and LinkedIn, so you can watch us on both platforms, and you can ask your, questions or leave your comments on both platforms. So there, as I mentioned, our shows run monthly, every Thursday, last Thursday of the month at 12 p.m. So please stay tuned. We're going to announce it every month. And if you want to make sure that you never miss the next show, I also advise you to join our meetup group to receive the invites for the upcoming events. And we are planning to run some face-to-face events in the future as well, so keep an eye on it as well. So yeah, if you will have any questions for Arafath, make sure to, Arafath is our speaker today, so make sure to drop it in the comments as he going with his presentation. Because also make sure you're staying at the end, because audience can vote as well, and we will have an award, a prize for audience favorite at the end of the year as well. So please ensure that you're staying and voting at the end of the presentation as well. And before I pass it on to Arafath for today's presentation, I would like first to introduce our judging panel. They will be evaluating, the presentation today based on three criteria: innovation and creativity, engagement and audience impact, and problem solving and critical thinking. So I'll put those things for you to digest, so like everyone who's voting knows what they're going to do. I'm just going to quickly say hi to everyone. Catherine's here. Thank you so much. Catherine from Melbourne's here. Tracy's here. All About Gardening. That's a great name. So I love the YouTube names. Dennis here from Sydney. Shane is here. Oh my God, sometimes I can't pronounce the name. Hariharam. Thank you for joining us. Philippa is here as well. Excited to see Arafath in this show. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it, and you saying hi in the comments. So that's enough of me. I'm going to pass it on to our judges to introduce themselves. We'll start with Michael, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael Lambert. I'm the head of engineering at Tipendium. We produce a guest engagement solution for hotel rooms. So I lead the dev team, and yeah, have a lot of fun doing it.
Thank you, Michael. And Diana, please, to you.
Cool. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Diana Omoyo. I work at Cisco as a solution architect, looking after APJC region, specializing in observability. I'm always fascinated by just how innovative everyone is, especially in the tech world. And so I'm really, really interested in seeing today's presentation. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining.
Thank you, Diana. And Dmitri. you need to unmute. Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
thank you. I'm Dmitri, so I'm with Akamai. My team is actually leading all the engagements across Asia Pacific and Japan. We building out what used to be Linode, and now it is called an Akamai Connected Cloud. We're growing our environment substantially and improving security as well as the resilience for all of our clients in the region. So really glad to be part of this interesting, innovative episode number 3. Looking forward to Arafath's presentation.
Thank you, Dmitri. Yeah, exciting news about Linode and Akamai. So anyone who wants alternative, cloud solution, Dmitri is your man. So, okay, guys. So I think we're ready to go. A few more people saying hi. Farhan is here. Thank you for saying hi. Andrew's here. Zig is here. So a lot of people from Sydney. Thank you, guys. If you haven't say hi, please say hi, because it's nice people always saying hi. So that's enough of me talking. We're gonna go straight into it. So I'm gonna pass it to Arafath to go ahead with his today's presentation. Please, Arafath, over to you. All attention, all the eyes on Arafath.
Thanks, Anna. Can you guys hear me okay? See me okay? Perfect. Thanks, Anna and Fastlane Solutions, for the opportunity for the prestigious Australia's Tech Talent show, actually. My name is Arafath. In today's session, we're going to look at what I have done as a side hustle, and I just built a product using AI technology. This session is going to be in 3 sections, actually. The first section is going to be the personal aspect of getting to know who I am. First few minutes, not boring. And the second section is going to be about the product and the solution, like what I have implemented, the problem, the journey, and everything. And the third section is going to be on the learnings, actually, and what I think or what I've learned in this journey and all the sort of things, right? So let's start. So let's start with the first question. Who am I? It's a very deep question, but let's start with a shallow answer, right? So from the professional side of things, I started my career as an engineer. I did pair programming with God. Now I moved from engineering. Now I'm product manager. I think now God is maintaining my code in all my old companies that I worked for before. Currently, I'm working as a product manager at IR. And I'm passionate about building tech products. With respect to my life, I'm married and I have 2 kids. I'm trying to live my life between drop-offs and pickups and like a life of dad, actually, as you can see, right? Before we jump on to the second section, just want to make sure that I communicate this. I'm not an AI expert, or I'm not a PhD in AI or anything, right? I'm just an enthusiast, AI enthusiast. I just want to look at what is happening on the technology. I was trialing out different technologies like over the period, and just want to share what I've learned, what I'm doing, and we'll just go from there, right? So where did this all start? I think roughly like 15, 16 months ago, like in 2022, I had a goal where I just wanted to earn $1 through someone that I done now by building a product or services, right? Like just to have a side hustle and all this sort of things. Especially it started from the idea of like implementing what I'm learning as theory, like in terms of product building and all that, right? Obviously working for a company, you would see only one aspect of product building, but I want to see the end-to-end aspects of it. Then I thought like, I'm going to just kill this goal in a couple of weeks or months because I know what exactly to be done, right? Then the result was like my entire 2022 was a complete failure. So I tried idea after idea after idea. Then I learned like what not to do and everything, right? Suddenly I'll get an idea and I'll go and implement it and forget about somebody buying it. Like I had difficulty in people even visiting or seeing what I have done actually, right? So then I realized, I mean, I can give a separate talk on what I've tried and what were the lessons learned and all those sort of things, right? But fundamentally, what I learned in this process was like my goal was not right in terms of going towards like earning $1, which is monetization is one aspect of it. Then I revisited my goal at the end of 2022 to create a product or service to enrich the lives of the strangers, actually. Whether I make money or not, at the end of it is a different story. Of course, I have to monetize it, coming from product background and all that. But I changed the priority in terms of looking at building a product to add value to people, actually. Then, of course, the question turned into like, what problem should I solve? Then I was looking at all the problems that I have come across, like in terms of like migrating, or in terms of renting homes, or putting kids at school, or finding classes, you name it. So I had all those problems written down and trying to find out like what is going on and all that. In that process, I found a gem, which is the process around the Indian OCI cards. So for the people, just to have the context here, OCI stands for Overseas Citizenship of India. What that means is like, if you're a foreigner, you have two options when you're visiting India, right? So either you have to get a visa, like that's a normal process. But if you're a foreigner with Indian origin, then you can get a special card called Indian OCI card. And I got that like 4 years back. And I got that again for my kids like few months back, actually last year. I realized that entire process is so time consuming and the documentation is like lacking the steps of like what needs to be done. And it is not covering all the scenarios. And I thought it's just my problem, right? Then I checked with my friends and family who has applied for this. Then I checked in forum. Then I realized this is a global problem, right? So there are around like 500,000 users who are trying to use the system, and everybody was just going through what I have done in the past, right? Like they're trying to go through the documentation, trying to find the rules, and it's just all over the place, and it is time consuming and all that. Then I found the purpose here, right? So I can see like there are 4 million man hours, like approximately, wasted on this process. So my mission changed to save this, actually, right? How can we leave it like this? So then I started looking at what are all the options available in the market today. So what people are doing. Conducted some user research, spoken to people, and with my own experience and all that. So there are official documentation, and people are going through the search engine, or they are trying in public forums, trying to ask questions, or there are some paid third-party services are there, but even they are painful. Like we can go in detail in terms of what that means and all that. But for me, surprisingly, what I found out was like even ChatGPT was not accurate, actually, in terms of the scenarios. Yes, it explains to you in terms of what is an OCI. If you ask some basic questions, yes, it can tell you, right? But if you ask some complex scenario-based questions, its knowledge is very limited. So you still go back to the other options, trying to find out like, okay, what is the option? You just waste time. There again, I saw opportunity. But if I'm the old person in 2022, like if this was my first idea, I would have put all my time and energy in like building a big portal, like solving all the world hunger problems sort of stuff, right? But this time I was very cautious because I burnt my fingers last time anyway, the entire last year, right? So I've started with some experiments. So I joined all the forums across the world for Indian OCI and immigration related services. And I just watched cautiously in terms of like what questions are coming back. At least every day, 10 to 20 queries are coming related to OCI, and the questions are repeatedly same questions, actually. Like, what should be the format here? What should I enter here? All the sort of stuff. So I reached out to some of them, and then I helped them to get OCI like late last year. Then I got some confidence, like, okay, I can guide people in this. Then what I did was like I correlated all my knowledge. Then I thought, let me just write an ebook and then sell it off, right? It's just done because the knowledge is there. I've done this, and I'll just put it out. Then I published my ebook like few months back and sold 15 copies. People who bought the book were still contacting me for some scenarios because all the scenarios were not able to be covered in the book itself, right? They read the book, they come back and say, no, but you haven't covered this scenario where the child is born in Canada, but we moved to Dubai, but what should we do? I'm like, I don't know, but let me check and come back, So then I realized like there is still more to go in this process, right? That's when I built my own AI assistant. That's how 10x Save was born. So what I did was like I collected the knowledge over the internet, whatever is there in terms of the official documentation, plus my ebook. And also I built a pipeline from the forums, the public forums, and I constantly review that and then build my model and then publish it here. So if you just compare 10x Save with ChatGPT, I think it's a brave comparison to compare a multi-million-dollar product with a weekend hustle. But this is the result actually, right? If you look at OpenAI product, it is a public domain knowledge product. If you ask 10 questions, it's giving 6 out of 10 questions right answers. And if the more complex scenarios you give it, it just says like, oh, you just have to go back and check the website. What I'm doing in contradictory on the other side is like I take the public domain knowledge. At the same time, I'm adding the secret sauce, which is the privately trained knowledge, and I'm continuously renewing that whenever I'm getting time, of course. So I can see, like, usually I'm trying in both the systems actually in terms of what answers are coming from both the systems actually, right? So I can see my product is giving far more accurate answers, still work to be done, right? I can't claim like it'll be 100% accurate right now, but with the effort that I've put in, I can clearly see like it's paying off right now. So just to share the happiness with respect to the traction, this was my first product. I've tried many ideas, as I said, last year and year before and all that. This one just worked like fire, right? When people came to know there is a bot which is answering their questions for all their scenarios, there's almost like active users from like 50 plus countries started visiting. And in first 3 days, like 400 active users started coming in. And currently I have like 100 weekly active users in the platform. So what I'm focusing on next is the customers are telling me what I should focus on next. So these are all the features which are, I mean, in the PM language, it's on the backlog. So they want photo validation, document validation, and especially people talk about the auto OCI concept, which is they would upload a document, like upload all the documents in the portal. They expect the program to go and fill in everything and then exactly tell them what needs to be done after that actually, because it's an both offline and online process. So I'm very excited to really look at and then pick one of these features and build next and improve and really add value in people's life. That's about the 10x Save. That's the second section of my talk. Let's go to the third section of my talk, which is the learnings, right? I mean, as I said at the start of my talk, I'm not an AI expert here, but I'm just sharing like what I know, right, as a layman. So according to me, AI is here to stay. We don't have to panic, but we have to move with extreme caution. The reason why I used these words, I'll give you some analogy for that. If you look at the picture on the left-hand side, which is the Lord's calculator, which was invented in 1880, I happened to see that in one of the computer history museums, because this is where the history of computers starts, it seems. Somebody has invented this in 1880, and we have done all this, and now we are sitting at home taking calls, like talking worldwide and all that, right? Like this is the starting point of that. But there was a paper article next to this device, which was sitting there. It said like, oh, in 100 years, these things will completely take over human race, actually, right? I don't even understand what device is this, to be extremely honest with you guys. Like, anyway, somebody was thinking like that. Is like, if the technology advancements go this far, it would just take over human race. I don't think that happened, luckily. And the other analogy, what I would give from the AI perspective is like, if people say AI or machine learning or any cutting edge technology is really dangerous, I would really ask them to consider the versatility and the potential of the kitchen knife, which we all have, right? I get it. Like, we need to make sure there are compliance around it. There should be rules around it. We should be cautious about it. There should be education piece about it. And we need to build products to make sure the information is right, not generated by AI and all this sort of stuff, right? But putting an end to this and say like, oh, please stop all this, I don't think like we can undo technology, right? So that's my personal view on these things. And Yeah, sweet and short. We are at the last slide. Thank you so much for the opportunity, guys. If you're interested, please be in touch with me in LinkedIn. And yeah, back to you, Anna.
Thank you. I'll just thank you, Arafath, for your presentations. I think like I have a few ideas in mind straight away. I think like maybe I should do both how to apply for Russian visa. I'm just afraid we'll be not as popular. not the most popular destination at the moment. And I really like the the comparison of the kitchen knives. So I think we've all been there when you look at the kitchen knife and think like, just hide it from me.
You don't have to. You don't have to confess on the camera now.
So guys, that's time. Now it's time for voting. So I'll just quickly remind you the categories. The audience. Please make sure you vote as well, because as I said, it will be audience favorite prize at the end of the year as well. So the first category, innovation and creativity. So, is this idea innovative, or did the speaker provide new insights on some perspective on a familiar topic, or maybe introduce some new ideas or concept? How engaging it was, was the presentation engaging? Did you feel like wanted to keep listening? Did the Arafath use some, analogies, storytelling, explain some complex concept in a simple way? Visuals and so on, and problem solving. Did the speaker clearly define the problem? Was the problem solved? Or if it wasn't solved, did you understand the learnings and solutions from that? So that's basically the categories. So please vote from 1 to 5 on those categories, and I'll get our judges to put some scores while judges doing that. And please feel free also put any questions if you have any questions to Arafath. Then you please feel free to put it in the comments as well. So 1 to 5. So you need to vote like that, like Andrew did, 5, 3, 5 kind of thing. Yeah. So it's need to be 3 numbers. Well done, Arafath, from Shane. Good work. All gardening. I love the name. All about gardening. So good. Give highest vote for all categories. Anyway, so guys, keep please voting in the comments, and we'll just go to our judges. We'll start with 1 second, guys. I'm just doing millions things at the same time, as you do when you're doing something live. Let's start with Diana. Diana, please let us know about your score.
Yes. Well done. I think it was, I wanted to hear more for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm curious about a few things, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I think in terms of using the time, kind of breaking it down, it was good to understand your story and the driver behind it. One of the things that I liked was the fact that you zeroed in on a problem and went in and actually looked for data to support that and research. Because I think in a lot of ways, I can have a problem in my head and I think I'm going to solve it for myself, but you're actually looking at feedback from others to drive the way that you design that. So I think having that context was brilliant in that respect. I also like that you explained OCI, because for me, I'd just be sitting here going, I have no idea what that is. So it was good to actually get some insights around the process itself, and so on and so forth. And yeah, I liked the stories as well, kind of like just giving, it wasn't just, this is, and typically when I talk to people about AI or ChatGPT or anything like that, it's just tech, right? Yeah. So to embody some stories as part of that was a great addition. That said, I believe part of what I was curious about, because again, if we're talking about citizen data, I would be interested in knowing, one, how willing were people to just provide data to your platform? It's like it's very personal information, and any considerations around that. And I know also, like, with anything to do with government processes and things like that, there might be policies that are changing. How are we going to look at that going forward? And again, in terms of citizen data, a lot of it was just security focused. What was that? And then in terms of just, you did the comparison with OpenAI and yours in terms of accuracy. But I was curious to understand what defines accurate. I think in the beginning you mentioned that the documentation was lacking in a lot of sense. So was there a way to verify that with the main requirements and so on and so forth? So I was interested in knowing that. And then, like, how are people engaging with you? Is there like a website where they're submitting the data? How are they giving their feedback? Are they emailing? Are they calling, and so on and so forth? So yeah, so I had a lot of questions in that respect. I'm like, okay, if I wanted to go in and do this, obviously I don't qualify for that, but how would I engage on your platform? So I think that was good. And then lastly, I think, like, with every group or any individuals that I've talked to that are looking in this startup world, or they're starting to build solutions in that sense. I like that you said, I started with money and I was like, oh no, this is going to be painful. And so when you shifted and you said, yes, I realized that wasn't the right motive, and problem solving is fantastic. But unless you're doing charity work, I'm guessing you want to at least at some point start to monetize that. And so it would have been kind of nice to kind of see what the projections almost look like, or maybe what the vision kind of look like. And I know maybe I'm going too deep. 15 minutes isn't a long time to get into that. But I think overall, it's great. It looks like like you said, it's a step one in just getting some level of accuracy, and there's room to grow in terms of how do we then make it easier to just run through the entire process. So it in itself, holistically, I think it's fantastic. But again, it is early days and there is a lot of gaps, but I think that's why I think everything averaged out to around 3. Because it's a great place to be, and then there's a lot of room to grow. So well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I get that. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you for your feedback. Let's go with Dmitri, please.
Right. I'm just, I kind of like numbers, mathematician by trade. My wife is a mathematician, so is a lot of our friends. So I like how things actually come in threes here, right? So we have episode 3. Diane went with 3, 3, 3. Your whole theme was pretty much 3 categories of different things, and inside of each of those categories, you kind of broken down in 3s, which is a perfect way to kind of dress up any presentation. Because if you study any sort of human behavioral and how you address a presentation, you start with what you want to tell them, then you tell them what you need to tell them, then you tell them what you just told them. So that's kind of a really an impactful presentation in my view. So I think it was great. I like the idea. I love the way you kind of dress it in. And by the way, I disagree with Diana. It's okay to start with money. It's we all need to feed our families. It needs to be a commercially viable idea. So I think it's not a bad way to start things. But I really like how you pivoted to solving actual problems and actually having some numbers to support yourself in terms of man hours that are wasted. What are the improvements that you could make? One key consideration, and this goes into areas of improvement, and that's why I kind of scored your presentation skill a little bit lower there, is do not ever throw round numbers. Round number statistics is always made up on the spot. So 60 to 80%, I would use 87.9% versus 62.7% or something like that. That actually has got credibility. And by the way, those numbers have just been made up on the spot, as most of the statistic does anyways. But I do love how you actually try to make an assessment, which is really hard, and I can get why those numbers are sort of round. Is what is the AI drift and how far you've managed to sort of contain it by using a more specialized solution. So those are all the great things that I saw there. One thing that also goes for areas of improvement is, would be great if you actually started it the way like Steve Jobs would start the presentation, with a wow factor, with something. I would even go with a demo, right? Something that would go and position your unique value proposition as an opening, and then you take us on a journey on how you got there. You kind of got it all backwards. So you actually got there to all those essential bits and pieces that I really wanted to see, like the cool technology, the solution, the help to the humanity, the actual numbers that you're comparing to the open AI as well. But I would love to go with big bang up front and say, could you imagine that this is happening? Like Steve Jobs, when he comes out in his black T-shirt.
My favorite iPhone launch. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He's what the future looks like, and everyone is going, my God, he just blew my mind. Yeah. So that's all me. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thanks, Dmitri.
Perfect. Thank you, Dmitri. And last but not least, Michael, look at your numbers.
Next episode is 4, but he's preparing for that.
Yes. So it's I do actually, on the scoring chart that I've got behind the scenes, there's a whole lot of really variable numbers. They just happen to all average out to 4, which I thought was a nice round way to do it. I guess kicking off with the innovation and creativity side of things, you were talking about something that I had absolutely no understanding of because I've never used the process. I will never need to use the process. And when I go and visit India, I'm just going to be on a tourist visa. So it's something that I would never have even thought of. So I thought that it was really good that you've taken something that's obviously got some real meaning to you and gone, there's a big problem here. It can be solved. And you've chosen one way to go about solving it. You had up there a map that showed a heat map of where it's getting used. And I looked at that and I thought, right, nice dark area over Australia. Fair enough. You're in Australia. That makes sense. There's going to be some word of mouth marketing there. I was really intrigued by the fact that I think India may actually have been a darker blue than Australia. So there's more people in India using it than there are in Australia. And that really stood out to me. To me, that was a massive call out that there is a big problem that even people who live in India need that problem solved for people they know. And that to me really shines through with how creative and innovative it is to have a solution for this. Diana mentioned the monetization. I'm not going to go through that again. I'm sure that you have ideas for how you want to monetize it. And it would be really interesting to see how you're thinking of doing that. At the same time, I understand the business world. I'm sure that's commercial in confidence and you're not going to promote it. At least that's a good excuse. I'll let you stick with it. The engagement and audience impact. There were a few bits here that I thought maybe could have been improved a little bit. Your slides were far too busy. I felt as though I could either listen to you or read the slides. That's something that is really hard to do, but your slides can basically need to just be triggers for how people are going to remember that bit of information you talked about. I have been to a presentation before. The guy just had cats in different poses as his slides. And when referencing things, it'd be like, oh, that bit where the cat was lying on its back. Sometimes it's just as effective. Again, that depends on, are you going to republish those slides afterwards? In which case you may want that information on there. I think Dmitri mentioned taking people on the journey, and this gets onto one of the things I noted down almost as soon as you finished was your ending just seemed to run out. And I think Dimitri's comment about taking people on the journey, presenting the idea up front, gives you a much more defined ending. You sort of went, here's my journey, and then here's the product, and you finished talking about the product, and you went, and yeah, that's the last slide. If you flipped that around and said, here's the product, you then take people on the journey, and at the end you go, and that produced the product. and that's your endpoint, and it's a nice solid end. So I guess not just on the presentation side, I'd probably suggest a few.
I'm coming for episode 4 with the same content. Sorry.
Yes.
Flipping it the other way.
Reverse it. Yes. We'll play the video in reverse and see how it goes.
Exactly. Sorry,
okay.
Michael. Let's just go.
And then for the I guess the problem solving side of things, I think I'm not really sure where to put this one in terms of the 3 sections, but I've put it in problem solving, and that is right at the very start you devalued yourself. You said, I'm just a product manager. No, you are a product manager. There's no just about it. And that's why you've been able to develop a product. Build yourself up. Don't devalue yourself at the start. You mentioned failure in there a few times. Part of this is, I guess, a mindset for yourself. Is flip that around. It's not failure. It's a learning opportunity. You've found 10 ways that didn't work. And be careful when you say, I failed and I failed and I failed. Make sure that's actually the point you're wanting to get across. And I guess the last bit on the problem solving, your what's next list, was that ordered? You made a comment afterwards that made it seem like it wasn't. But when I looked at the order of those items on it, it seemed like it was a roadmap. Yeah. Because I think the first 2 items very much led into then having a system that people just fill in the blanks. Correct. And ultimately then said, now I've got this, I can roll out to another section of the government.
Russian visa is the next project, correct.
Yes. Was that at Jana's request?
Let's do it.
Cool. So I guess that's I guess why it all came out at 4s. There was a little bit on each of them, but sure. Fantastic presentation, great idea, well implemented, and I'm sure it's useful for the 500,000 people a year out there. I'm sure that'll increase as world population goes up.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. I love how all the time, like it's only 3rd episode, but I think what I've noticed and what I really enjoy about this show, how different feedback is, how like every time different judges on our panel give the different views. And I understand the categories is also quite subjective, and it's always interesting to know how people's interpretation of the categories and how like different people noticing completely different things. So I love this aspect, and then I think it's like really good for us to think about it. It shows any area of our life, you know what I mean? Like we have so many subjective things and communication and everything. Obviously the really obvious example is like recruitment process, how like everyone can perceive the same answers so differently and give like completely different interpretations. So guys, thank you so much, Arafath. Great job with your presentation. I would love to invite everyone also to participate in our show. So that's a great opportunity for anyone to give this, to get this various feedback. And so like, I guess broad feedback on some of your ideas, or just some feedback on the project you built. So please get in touch with us, get in touch with me particularly. So if you want to come to the show next, sorry, I'm coughing today. Next show will be on the 29th of June, 12 p.m. as usual, and it will be Tammy who will be talking also about some of your like kind of a side hustle. Tammy is a software engineer, so she will, will be talking about something interesting that she built. We have few people. Oh, I'm glad that all about gardening is Tanya. Thank you, Tanya, for putting your name. I feel like you get a few new subscribers after that. So I think everyone who wants gardening, follow Tanya. For Haran saying simple but yet brilliant and well-crafted presentation, impactful work as well, 544. Actually saying well-crafted presentation, 545. Shane is voting 443. Catherine, thank you for making me understand OCI. I was interesting to see how the product evolved from concept stage. 444, congratulations for finding the courage to join. Exactly. It's a courage to join, because obviously with big social spheres we all have, it's a fear of being judged, and a lot of us have a fear of presentation and public speaking as well. So guys, if you're experiencing fears, this show is for you. So I'm I'm sure you want to jump in. So anyway, yeah, well done, Arafath. So and as usual, guys, just to finish this show, usual stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, share our video. If you have any questions for Arafath offline, please make sure to post it in the comments. We'll take any questions offline, or we can share the details as well. And I think also I have that's Arafath website if anyone interested in this particular product. If you're traveling to India, here we go. So anyway, thank you everyone as well. Thank you for our judges to joining us today. Is anyone else wanted to say anything before we finish the show?
Michael asked a question, which is an interesting point. I'll just add here, which is he asked like why people in India are using my chatbot, right? More. The reason is like there are a lot of people go there in the tourist visa. They are Indian origin, and they come to know like there is such thing exist. So from there, they try to apply for OCI actually. So that is an interesting fact actually. But thank you so much, judges, for the well-crafted feedback actually. Thanks, Anna, for hosting, and Fastlane Solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Diana, did you want to mention something as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks. I think it's been fantastic, and to Arafath's point, it's a lot of information coming in, and I hope you carry on, because this is absolutely a brilliant thing for all of the users out there. So thanks for sharing your vision with us.
Thank you,
Arafath. Thank you, Yana.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you last Thursday of the month. Please stay tuned. 29th of June, next show.
Thank you.
See you, everyone.